That's possibly one of the best openings to any song ever. Ever! Even better than fucking... I don't know, I can't think of any songs right now. I'm an artist, not a musician. Fuck you. I don't deal with music. Lord knows I would if I could. People who make music get crazy amounts of buzz. I'd be drowning in it. I'd have so much pussy. It'd be like SeaWorld, but with pussy instead of water. I'd be a big sad orca killer whale swimming around in a tank full of pussy if I was a musician. But instead, the good Lord made me an artist. And so I'm lonely all the time. Hi, hello. Hello, hello. Auf Wiedersehen, hello. I know. Auf Wiedersehen is German for goodbye. Beep-a-da-boo, beep-boo, beep-boo, beep-a-da-boo, beep-boo. I hope you smell and I hope that you die soon. Oh, I don't mean that. Come on, I was only joking around. I was only having a bit of a laugh, a bit. I hope you're all reasonably okay. I hope you're doing well enough, coping and surviving these trying times. Oh, isn't it a weird aren't things just weird right now? Could you imagine? Did you ever think things would be so bloody right now? I can't even begin to explain how weird things are right now. Excuse me. I had a bit of a build-up of something or another. You may, the astute of you, may be able to see that I'm working on some kind of comic book page or something. The really astute of you may be thinking, where's the fucking Spider-Man comic you said you were going to... Well, as discussed last time, you know, I'm getting to that. I've hit a bit of a block with it, yeah? So, you know, rest assured, soon enough I'll be out of that and I'll get it done. And I'll get it done in record time. You'll all be suddenly going, shit, how did he do this so quick? That's fucking impressive. It's amazing. I can't believe it's done already. Months and months and months after he originally had planned and said he'd have it done. So, this is just a little bit of fun, like literally, just a little bit of something for fun. Do you know, this is sort of how it goes. I've had not an idea. I've wanted to do some kind of just, single comic book page, just like a couple of pages of comic book, just one quick little story contained in a couple of pages. But I don't tend to have that many ideas specifically for comics and things. Like I have Gun Viking, that's like a large thing. I have another thing I'm working on, that's a large thing. But when it comes to just, hey, just do just a couple of pages of a comic book, then I go, buh? And I realise I've got no ideas. But what I've noticed with things like that, with art block as well especially, which is why I'm sort of quite chill about my Spider-Man thing, is it always tends to come just, we like some cum. it tends to just sort of crop up on its own. Do you find that? No? Am I talking bollocks? That's just what I find, is that I can, try and force it, get some kind of inspiration going, but ultimately it usually just happens. So I've been thinking for quite a while, I'd like to do some kind of just one-shot little comic strip thing, but I had no ideas. I didn't know what to do. And then, out of the blue, literally a couple of nights ago, I thought, well, I had one particular panel in mind, and I was like, oh, how would I get to that panel? Oh, I could do these panels before it. Okay, that would work. That would give me a few pages. I got it to about 4 pages, thumbnailed it out. It was good, and it was and this is one of those pages. And that tends to be how it works. Is I can try and force inspiration, try and get the ideas flowing. Look at books, listen to podcasts, I don't know, whatever it is. And quite likely nothing will happen. But then, out of nowhere, suddenly, something will pop up and I'll go, I could do that for my comic. And it's a goblin. Goblins are cool. You like goblins. It'd be quite a neat little fucking thing to do, isn't it? So that's what I'm doing now. That's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing me do right now. Is that. And also part of this is I want to see if I can ink a comic. Just black and white ink. Because a lot of times, as you've no doubt seen, like I did with my Spider-Man comics, I rough them out, I trace them in blue, which I might have to stop doing if I want to make shit really neat and tidy, but we'll get to that. And then I use the ink like this, and I just roughly sketch it in, and then scribble all the dark patches in, and I'm like, yeah, that's good enough. Because I know I'm going to be painting over it, yeah? And because I know I'm going to be painting over it, it doesn't matter if it's rough and shitty. So all of my inked pages come out really rough and shitty. So I want to see if I can put in just a little bit more effort and have my pages a little bit less rough and shitty. Yeah, that's my thinking with this one. I want to try and make it relatively good, if I may be so bold as to try and do so. So I'm trying to keep all the lines pretty tidy, keep all the contrast. There's going to be lots of black-white contrast, lots of heavy black areas here, and here. There's be lines in the background here, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it will come out quite cool. Just a fun little romp with a goblin with a gun. Goblins and guns, not just muscles and guns, also goblins and guns. Muscles and goblins and guns. Oh my! And I figured for this podcast, I wouldn't go too extravagant. I will try and get just most of, if not this whole, just one panel done. I won't try and do the whole page. I'll just focus on the panel, try to get this done. Because that'd be quite a good little bit to do, wouldn't it? Hey, yeah, it's what we like to see, isn't it? Something actually accomplished in these videos instead of just a bunch of nothing like that fucking Spider-Man drawing the other week. I mean, it was an okay drawing, ish. Didn't finish it, didn't really go anywhere, wasn't for any reason, it was just something to do. And now this, what's all this then? Well, this is something that will hopefully be mostly finished. At least this panel will be. That's all we're going for. We're going for the panel today, not a page, just the panel. Yes. There's a thing I learned about inking fairly recently is that a good thing to do is to keep the underlines or the underside lines a little bit heavier. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, so I might be testing that out. So like this line is just a little bit thicker than this line. This line just a little bit thicker than these lines. Just, I guess, to give the underside of it a bit more weight or something of the sort. I don't know, we'll see how that works or how that doesn't work. We will bloody see, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's most of the inking for this page done. Well, I mean, I say inking, it's the oh, that was a heck of a pause. The outline inking. Obviously, I will get to shading. Shall I show you the what this comic is? What it's about? Yeah. Well, if you look here, wait a doggone second. That's not my Goblin comic. That's some fucking Spider-Man comics. What's going on? What the bloody hell is going on? I've mentioned a few times, specifically in my last Spider-Man drawing video, which I mentioned. There were these particular stories I quite liked. They were quite cool, where Spider-Man has like a bounty on his head or something, and so he still wants to go out and fight crime, but if he does that, he'll get caught. So he has all these other costumes that he puts on to go out and fight crime. So just random superheroes pop up. Witness the death of Spider-Man and the birth of the Hornet. Spider-Man is gone. Meet Dusk. Step aside, Spidey. Here comes Prodigy. Oh, is he a fire starter? I quite like the half and half they've done. It's pretty neat. And the torn up Spider-Man logo in the background. It's quite a cool storytelling device. And that's a John Romita Jr. Spider-Man. You can tell by sort of how blocky it is, but also how fucking strong it looks. Look, like this isn't one of the best Spider-Mans ever. It's good enough. Like it's good. It's a good Spider-Man drawing. It's a professional grade, adequate Spider-Man drawing. Spider-Man. But then look at that. Look how fucking strong this one looks, and not just muscly and whatever, but just the drawing itself. The shapes quite angular. Like I think a lot of people say his work looks quite blocky, especially in the foot. Like that's almost drawn like when you see how to draw a foot, like real how to draw a foot guides. It says like these basic shapes, and then you flesh them out. But it's almost just those basic shapes, and his blacks are solid, and his shapes are solid, and really, really fucking strong. The angles, like the angular aspect, really helps. And in the Dusk as well. I really like Dusk. We'll have a little look at him. Just the lines he uses are perfect to show the strength and everything in Dusk. And it's really simple almost. John Romita Jr. I think I am going to make an art of John Romita Jr. JRJR video showcasing his stuff, because it's really, it's almost similar to Mignola in a little way, in a kind of way. That on the surface it's relatively simplistic looking. Like his shading looks like it's just done with almost like a marker pen. Just zigzags, yeah, cool shading, done. But then he does it to such great effect. That's the thing. It looks simple, but it's how he uses it, not necessarily what it is. I mean, I'm not going to spend hours and hours going through these comics. I just thought it was quite funny. I was looking through a bunch of my old comics. I pulled out some JRJR ones. I couldn't find the Plant Man issue, the one I was really railing against. Sadly, I've got a couple of other bags of comics I can look through, but for now, I found these and they're quite cool. I mean, he's showing Mary Jane his new outfit. Like, great. Yeah, maybe cool isn't the word. I guess he can fly with the Hornet jetpack thing. I don't know. Yeah, I could have read these ahead of time. It would have only taken maybe half an hour to actually read them. Oh, wow. There's a fourth. I thought it was just the three, but there's a fourth one. Ricochet. Ricochet. That's another costume he has. So it's Spider-Man. That's quite a Spider-Man pose. And his name's Ricochet. Who did the art for that? Joe Bennett. Pretty good solid pencils on that. I quite like that. Joe Bennett. I don't know if I know Joe Bennett's work really, but it's pretty fucking decent, man. Solid pose. Oh, I forget who this guy is, but he's quite nasty looking. Yeah, the Hornet, Ricochet, Prodigy, and Dusk. Dusk is fucking cool. We'll get on to Dusk. We'll have a little look. Have a little look-see at Dusk. So there's Ricochet doing his thing. It's just Spider-Man without the webs, essentially. And I don't know if he is wearing a wig or he dyed his hair. Or something. I don't know. Some shit, whatever. I don't know who that guy is, but he's pretty daunting. Oh, here we go. Dusk. Peter Parker, Dusk. John Romita Jr. Cannot mistake his style. It's so, like, obviously him. I think because these are Marvel Collector's Editions. I assume they have them in other places in the world. I don't know, but they're in the UK specifically. These can be found in newsagents, bookshops and things. These would come out monthly, and every month it's 3 Spider-Man issues together. Usually the first 2 would be stories reprinted from like a couple of years ago, and in the back, in this one, all 3 are the stories. Then in the back sometimes they'd have like classic issues, reprints of just like random Spider-Man stories, what if stories. These ones, I guess, if for the longer tales, all 3 issues are, you know, the same storyline, which is quite cool to see. And especially in places, like a lot of places in England, little smaller towns don't have comic book shops, but, you know, the news agent on the corner might stock these, so that was a good way of getting some Spider-Man. And they had other titles, Avengers and Hulk and other things as well. DC versions also. So it's quite cool to collect a bunch of stories in one place. And getting these whenever it was, 2002, Jesus, almost 20 years ago. I really, I don't know the word. I became enamoured with John Romita Jr., I guess. I have a lot of these collections with his art in. And straight away his work stood out to me, I guess, because of like how blocky it is. And again, I might have even thought like, this is not that great. But then when you really pay attention to how a comic is made, you start to go, oh shit, he's really, really good. That's quite funny. He's obviously, I guess, getting ready in a hurry, and he's put on bits of all the costumes. How did he manage that? Yeah, kind of funny. Spider-Man. I mean, I won't go on about JRJR too much, because I say I will make a separate video for the guy. But Dusk is really cool, man. Always just all black. And with his, because he's got like, I guess, wings almost. It's like a wingsuit. Quite obscure shapes, but always black. And you can see there's a person in there. I really like it. And fighting the Shocker and some guy that shoots glue out of his fingers. I don't know who he is. That's cool. JR's art, man. Really blocky, but then you get a page like this. It's just so perfect. It's really, really cool. I like that a lot. But yeah, I just thought it was funny. Just Spider-Man running around as not Spider-Man for a little bit. Identity crisis. This artist, I don't know who they are. Mike Wieringo. I don't know who you are. Sorry, I apologise. A little bit cartoony for my liking. I mean, I do my stuff quite cartoony, but fucking whatever. Still good though. Really, really good. Well drawn. Oh, you know what? Cool reflections and shit. I like. Anyway, yeah. So he's Hornet, and then Prodigy's quite boring. Just sort of, I don't know, Ozymandias looking thing. That's not great. More Dusk. Is the same? No, who's the artist here? Joe Bennett. Is that the guy from before? Yeah. We like some Joe Bennett. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Sexy. Pretty good. The Black Tarantula. There you go. That's that guy. Might have to look him up. Check out what he's about exactly. Cults and shit. I mean, yeah, the storyline, the overarching storyline is more interesting than the nitty gritty, I find. The premise of Spider-Man, oh, look, he's taking his jacket off, he's getting into his other costume. Boom! Who the fuck is that? He came out of nowhere. Oh, fuck, now the Hornets, what's going on? Yeah, the idea of Spider-Man having a hit out on him, so taking on these other costumes to still fight crime. That's a cool idea for a story, and then you see the costumes he's got and stuff. That's cool. But then the actual stories I find are a little bit like, some of them are cool. I'd love actually just to see a Dusk costume. I think the costume was from like some interdimensional place, so it's all like, you know, other dimensional fabric or something. All black. Man, if I was like an on-staff artist for Marvel and they said, we want you to do these issues with this guy Dusk, I'd be so happy. Because you just draw person and he's all in black. Like Spider-Man, as far as like superheroes go, it's pretty easy to draw. As long as you get like how he moves, it's just person and then you draw the spider webs on his body. Because, you know, Iron Man, especially a modern Iron Man, there's so many little bits and like things you've got to get right. Thor's quite complicated. But then you get Dusk. Fucking A. Love that. Love me some Dusk for that reason. And some JRJR. We like that guy as well. Rather annoyingly, I know John Romita Jr. has worked on loads of stuff. He's been a pretty big deal in comics in general. Sadly, I don't have much stuff by him. I've got a stack of Spider-Man comics with loads of his art, and there's some other characters in there. There's one particular one with the Hulk in, which is quite cool. I do like his Hulk, but I don't have much. And then there's Kick-Ass as well. I've got the first and second Kick-Ass books all in individual comic book form, so I can show those off a little bit. That's all his artwork. He was the original artist of, you know, the movie, but the comic Kick-Ass, which is quite cool. And there's this one as well. I guess we'll just flip through for the sake of it. I mean, not a terribly designed costume, but sort of bleh. But then I guess that's the point, isn't it? They can't make them too interesting. I mean, there's no point in fucking... Oh, that's cool. And I don't know who this character is actually. He's a bit of a weird one. I did see his face is like bits and pieces, and they move around and make. Does it say his name? I mean, they can't name him Jigsaw, can they? Because that's like the guy from The Punisher. But I quite like how his speech bubbles are all jigsaw pieces that fit together. That's quite a cool device. So here it's a good contrast. I don't know, fucking whatever. Oh, and that's pretty cool as well. It's pretty neat. I like that. We like that. Because obviously there'd be like a month's difference in between this and this. That's quite a cool like transition from issue to issue. It's just this guy being this guy, Prodigy, whatever. Spider-Man without the spider part. Man. Cool. Oh, and then you get Spider-Man back. Oh, Spider-Man cleared of all charges. Osborn saves Prodigy's life, recovers a priceless gem. I don't know, something happened, I guess. I guess it was Norman Osborn that had the hit out on Spider-Man or something. I don't know. And then the hit's not out on him, so he could be Spider-Man again, and she's so glad he's back. Oh, ooh, but there's dark dealing still going on in the background. Oh no. And I think this is just a different story. One with Ghost Rider in it, evidently. Whatevs. Who cares? So that's kind of cool. Now, is that going to take place of the art book this week? No! Here's an art book. Okay. It's not strictly an art book. I appreciate that. But it is fucking good. If you're into comics, you probably know what Hard Boiled is. Frank Miller, Sin City, fucking Dark Knight Returns, some Daredevil stuff, bunch of other. It's Frank Miller. Everyone knows Frank Miller. Jeff Darrow. I mean, you may know him, you may not know him. He did a lot of the concept illustrations for the robotics for the Matrix, or like the piddly tiddly little details and stuff. I mean, if you just look at the detail in that, that's like, whew, that's a lot of detail. Then how about you take a look in the actual fucking book, because oh my Lord in heaven. I mean, I don't know how much you're going to be able to see on camera, but there's a lot. So that's like, okay, little bits of robotics, they've all got little lines, little details all over the place. It's a lot. Little cats, little faces, little details everywhere. Sure. Cool. That's good. There's lots of detail. But then you see stuff like this, and it's just like, what the fuck is even going on? Come on now. That's almost silly with how much detail is in there. Now, Jeff Darrow's comics are impressive for that reason. I don't much like... not that I don't like it, it's just the visual style itself isn't hugely appealing. Like when you get the wider frames and stuff, it's fairly, you know, people, things going on. Cool. I don't know if there's quite enough contrast. It's almost difficult to tell which body part is where. But it's when you see stuff like this, it just blows you away. Because fucking look at it. Every single brick is drawn and accounted for. Probably a lot more bricks there than there actually would be there. And all these people having an orgy. Lots of violence and sex in this. I think he's like, what is he? Does it say? No, it's not even a blurb. I don't know what it's about. I think he's like a tax collector or something, but he's also a cyborg, or he doesn't know he's a cyborg, but there you go, he's a tax collector. yeah, so the story's like whatever. I don't care. Again, I might have read some of this and then gotten bored because I buy it for the artwork. I think my main, it's not an issue. It's again, it's not that I don't like it, but in terms of comic book, it's all very sort of plain. Not in terms of like layout and angles and stuff. There's nothing really outrageous or exciting going on. Because you could see an image like this. There's the guy here and the guy here and the machine. I mean, it's quite funny. It's like robot mermaids taking care of the big fat guy and his penis with a little P tube, I guess. And the detail's astonishing, obviously. But there are many other artists that could take this scene and make it look more dramatic, make him more imposing. Maybe he's supposed to look smaller and pathetic. I don't know, but Jeff Darrow's art, obviously, is really, 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 really good. I'm not trying to say his art isn't good, because it is. It's fucking incredible. But the detail is the incredible part of it. Like that, there's no need for that to be as complex as it is. And especially if you're drawing a comic, the amount of time it takes to draw a comic, you think you want to make this a lot more simplistic, but he doesn't. And then every single detail in there, all the little wires and cables and things, just fucking bananas, really. And don't, for all of my saying, oh, a different artist could make this look a lot more impressive, I'm not saying this isn't. I don't want it to sound like, oh, I could do better. I couldn't at all. I don't believe that. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying this isn't impressive. I'm just saying, I guess it's a very different, specific type of comic book. You know, it's not a Marvel or a DC comic book, you know, or Image Comics. It's its own thing. And it's very much insane. Absolutely fucking off the wall bananas. With how fucking... I mean, the imagery is insane anyway. The world he's built, I assume a lot of it is down to Frank Miller, but Jeff Darrow has illustrated it very well. You know, how very, I guess, adult-oriented it is with all the sex and violence and stuff. And I love the little details he puts in as well that he necessarily, or doesn't necessarily need to. The toys they're holding, stuff on the floor, just stuff. It's cool. Things. And I don't know, I think some of the colouring could be better as well, but at the same time, how do you colour artwork like this? It's got to be very, very difficult to do. But it does have a very sort of specific tone, so I guess that's something. I just think these colours don't sit that well together. I don't know, just maybe more could be done with that, I think. But the detail, man. How many sets of keys do you need for a fucking... all this shit? Like, if I had to draw a road with cars on it, I'd draw like 4 or 5 cars and go, yeah, there you go, there's a road with cars on it. And it's probably supposed to look jam-packed, but like, oof. You try and draw all that shit, man. Fuck that. That's a lot. And then you're going to draw all this shit. Jeff Darrow is a man with like absolute fucking concentration. Those great art, Kim Jung-gi, fucking this guy, just sit and draw every detail of a piece. It's pigs. This was a trailer carrying pigs, and look, all the pigs, because it's blowing up and the pigs are going everywhere. That probably wasn't in the script, but he put it in just because it's funny. This is a fish. The name of the place is Fish Dicks. See, it's funny. Some big crash going on. Funny, funny, funny stuff. All the details, cans all over the floor and shit. Guns, we like guns. I really should read it because, you know, I'm sure it's very good. I actually, now I think about it, I think I've seen this spread coloured very differently. So this might be like an older coloured version. They might have updated it with newer, better colours. Lots of adult stuff, people fucking in the streets, drugs and shit going on, fights, everything's detailed, fucking tattoos and stuff, pliers in a leg, a hamster tied to the leg there. You can look at this shit for fucking days, man. Pegs on the nipples. Every fucking little bit of it is stuff to look at, man. It's insane. And if you've got half a brain, you would have had The Matrix on DVD and watched the making of featurettes and seen all the fucking concept art that Jeff Darrow did, all his Sentinel drawings and stuff. And that's all. It's robots and details and little bits everywhere. Really rather good, you could say. It's cool, it's all very cool, it's good and it's cool and it's cool. It's quite a nice little fight scene panel. It's one thing I worry about if I ever come to drawing like a bigger fight scene that lasts for more than like a page, is running out of poses to draw them in. Like, oh, a kick, a punch, another punch. The one person grabs the other. I don't know. So maybe that's something I need to work on personally for myself. Yeah. He's also, I guess, good at drawing everything. Explosions, buildings, cars, people, guns, knives, hamsters tied to legs, funny little advertisements. I love funny little advertisements. Cow Jr. Perfect. That's where I want to work. It's really rather good. Really rather good. Look at that. Fucking cool. Like, if the scene is, okay, they're in a supermarket, car or something bursts through the wall, there's people around, it's like, okay, but here's 500 people all doing their own shit, shopping, not a single person looks the same as another person, some of them are horrifically detailed. There's a dog, there's a giant mushroom in that basket, a giant cabbage in that one, giant apple. That's cool. That probably wasn't in the script, giant fruit and veg, but fuck it, put it in. They're like robot fucking people working there and all this shit. Just fuck's sake, man. What are you doing? What are you bloody doing? It's too much. Too much. I love shit. One thing I like, or one thing that's easy, like an easy rule to remember, is to make a place look even a little bit dirty in a comic book. Just put some shit on the floor. A few bits of paper, a few little scraps on the floor. Cool. The place looks messy and dirty. And that's this, but like to the next level. The next 5 levels or more. That's pretty funny. Stuff. Copious details all over the place. Bananas. That's the old lady from before, where they were having the fight. Those two fighting, both cyborgs, and now they're both cyborgs. You see her tits and her guts, her robot parts. And the scene probably said in a junkyard, some messed up cars and stuff behind them. Go ahead, draw every single detail on all the cars, every single shard of glass, every little bit of machinery of these engines, the TV, the insides of a TV with a Mickey Mouse doll in there. Why not? The guy's fucking insane. But then, the robot fat old lady pulls her skin and her flesh off. She's like some sexy robot underneath. What the fuck? It's fucking crazy. Grinding on him like that. Literally, you can see his like mechanical bits being grinded off. I love how it moves through the scene as well. I've only just noticed that. If you watch like the head, this like head on top of the car here, obviously she's moving towards him and he's moving back, I guess. What else can we use? This guy here. And then there's the head of the guy. And it's there, so they're moving this way through the scene. It's the fridge, and then they're closer to the fridge, and then the fridge is on this side. And he redrew the same scene basically over and over again, every little detail. It's fucking insane, man. Punches her head off, sails up into the sky. That's cool. That's the life. Lots of tiny little women all over your body. What more could you ask for? Peace, maybe. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Peace and quiet. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say other than just, wow, isn't this hugely impressive? An impressive feat of any kind of artwork, drawing, illustration. But in terms of comic book creation, it's not like a 12 or 20 page comic. It's a whole fucking thing. It must have taken months and months to do, if not longer. Fucking look at that. Ugh. It's disgusting. So yeah, I don't really know what's going on in terms of storyline, but it's like he's a robot, but he doesn't know it, and then he knows it, and then he tries to go back to normal life, I guess. Look, he's run over a little dinosaur. It's cool. Bad day at the office? No, honey, everything's fine. Oh, he has a nice ending. Nice ending. Details, even where you don't need them. Yeah, I mean, hard-boiled, man. It's a hell of a thing. Jeff Darrow's done a bunch more stuff. I don't have any more of it. I just have this, and I just wanted to show it as far as a different kind of comic book. You know, there's loads of different ways to make them, and this is one particular way that I wouldn't necessarily recommend unless you happen to be fucking insane. So, okay, so he's like crouched behind a rock, and he's like, hey, oh, fucking you. And then he goes, zoom in on his face, gritting his teeth. Fuck. He turns around. This is him from behind. He's got his gun up in the air. There's a thing here, and he goes boom, boom, boom. He shoots it, dives to the side, shoots, and then this is the alien Mike Wazowski-looking thing. Shots fly past it. It's really scared. What's going on? And then he's holding the gun with both hands. I assume you can see that in the camera. Yeah, just about. Boom! As he shoots one more shot, and then you see the alien's eye, big with a flash in it, coming towards him, and then the beam goes through him, and it splits him in half, and it goes, and his eye flies off and goes, and there's his eye there. There's going to be some panels in the background, and then there's Goblin Boy vaulting over a rock, going wah, yeah, with a gun in his hand, looking kind of triumphant, sick, little bit of a foreshortening thing on the leg there, something, and then panels here like it's stuff's going on off screen, and then off screen to on screen, his feet as he's landed. And then he's like, yeah, cool. It's going to be very heavy shadow on his face. He's got his gun in his hand. And then suddenly, gasp, what's all this? He looks up. Shit, what's that? There's him here. He's looking up to something. Some like big giant here. Turns out it's a guy in a spacesuit. And this is Goblin Man looking up like, what's going on? What are you doing? What's going on? And then this hand is really badly drawn. I need to redo this panel. Sadly, it happens sometimes. It happens. He's reaching down to grab the goblin. He's looking like, oh shit, what's going on? And then, oh, he's picked him up. He's holding him like that. Oh, a little cute little goblin. This is the panel I had in my head. I had this panel, and I was like, that'd be funny. Like, pick up the goblin and just like, oh, like squeaky, like, nice squeaky little cute goblin. I was like, how do I get to this panel? Like, it's kind of an okay panel on its own, like just a cute little picture. I'll try to draw it nicely and have it like a nice little single piece. But put it in a comic, how do you get to that point? You get there by, you know, Back to the Future style, guy in a spooky spacesuit, you think it's some big intimidating thing. How does he get to that? He gets there by being adventurous, because you think it's like, yeah, goblin, pow, shoot the alien, dish, pow, squaff, triumphant, yeah. Wait, did I skip over that? Yeah, whapa, dish, cool, pow, ha ha. What? Find out, oh, he's actually tiny and cute. Oh, sweet. So that's the comic I've got in mind. That's the comic I'm kind of working on. This was I got it out of the bin so I could show you my thumbnail page. You can't see anything. That's the first page. That's him behind a rock, his face, him jumping out, him diving out and shooting the thing. Literally thumbnails that I look at and I can understand, but I wouldn't expect anyone else to be able to. You can just about see that one. Hands holding his cute face there. And then I think we've got the roughs, yeah. So then I sketched it out in rough and then brush pen over it so I could trace it easier. And you can see loads of scribbles in the back where I wasn't quite sure of placement of things, figuring out the pose and stuff. I had it more or less down in one go. And this, see there's a panel behind him. I was going to have him running, but I might put that here hidden a little bit. I wasn't sure what to do there. And yeah, you can see I changed the size of it to be a bit more impactful. The hand, I'm not sure quite how to do that. Like I say, I'll have a redraw of that. And there's that guy. And that's as simple as it is. That's how easy it is to just draw a fucking comic, yeah? I don't know, maybe I could take a little bit longer to actually get something done. You may have seen on my Patreon, if you've been looking at that thing, Christ, I really don't want to put too much shading in here, but I want to be really careful of where I do and don't put the shading. Yeah, if you've seen on my Patreon, you may have seen that I'm making some stickers, some butt stickers. That came to me, I mean, almost in a dream, but it was actually, I woke up, I was laying in bed, scratching my balls, as one might do, and it suddenly dawned on me that I should make butt stickers. I think people would like those. I think they'd sell quite well. Hopefully they do, because they weren't incredibly cheap to get printed. So I've got 9 designs of stickers, technically 11, because there's 2 bonus stickers for Patreon users only. I'll reveal those when I get them back from the sticker printer place. Yeah, 9 designs. I've got 50 of each. Well, 11 actually, so that's like, what, 550 stickers. I'll be selling them in packs of 9 and then 2 extra ones for free for Patreon users, as I said, for about £20-25 each, which I'm trying to keep the cost as low as possible. But I need to A, cover the costs of printing, and then I do, unfortunately, I have to make a profit. Like, I have to pay rent and bills and stuff. I'd love to sell them, just cover the cost of printing, maybe make an extra £1 more on top of that per sticker. But I have to sell them at a high enough price that I make money. I can't afford to just not make money. But the price I'm selling them is less than £3 a sticker. So two £3 a sticker for 9 or potentially 11 stickers. I think that's fair, isn't it? That's a good, fair price for a bunch of cool butt stickers from an independent working artist. That's not too much to ask, is it? That's good. That's a good price. That's an okay price, I hope. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I hope everyone's cool with that. Let's get some background shadow in here. But yeah, I think it's quite a nice little idea. I think they'll look quite cool. My original plan was to have 100 of each sticker, and again, sell them in packs. The main idea being profit, that I need to make money. But the cost of getting 100 stickers printed, 100 of each sticker printed, is a lot more, especially when you take into account, the risk involved in potentially not selling that many. If I sell all of them in a relatively short space of time, I will get more printed and then sell more if more people want them, which I'm hoping they will, because they are quite cool, cute little stickers. They're each about that. That's about 8 by 8 centimeters, so they're each about that big. So you get about 10 of those in a pack. Put them on your laptop, on your face, cover up horrible spots and blemishes on your skin with them. I don't know, whatever. Maybe I'll make a funny little video advertising them. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? And then I'll put the deleted scenes of that video on my Patreon as an extra little bonus feature. Stuff. Just trying to do things. I've had a couple of people actually inquire about a 2021 Butts calendar or something. I don't know if I mentioned, but I took a pretty big loss on the last calendar I did. I won't talk numbers specifically, but it was my own fault because I did it very late. I did it at the start of 2020 instead of the perfect time, I guess, is like October, November, maybe even December of the year beforehand. So people buy them as Christmas presents, because that's when everyone's getting calendars, isn't it? At the end of the year, ready for next year. But then to have a calendar come out at the start of the year when everyone's already gotten calendars that they need, people aren't buying calendars. I got quite a lot printed. To get them the way I wanted them was fairly expensive. It wasn't anything in particular special, but to get the printing quality and the images to come out as I wanted them to, being ballpoint drawings, I had to pay a little bit extra. And I got quite a lot printed and did not sell many at all. So I was a bit bummed about that. I have quite a lot left over. If anyone wants some 2020 calendars, let me know. Like I say, my main problem, my main failing was the time. I just didn't do it at the right time. And that's on me. That's something that I will take and learn from. As far as the 2021 calendar goes, I'm not doing that for now. I think I'm going to chill on that idea. Maybe for 2022, I don't know, we'll see. And I may even look into doing, for 2022, maybe a series of calendars. If I can get maybe even 10 or 20 printed of maybe 3 or 4 different kinds of calendars, maybe. I figured I could have one of all my different kinds of art. I could have one of ballpoint drawings, one of paintings, one of nudes, butts. I could have funny drawings, comic book pages I've done. There's quite a few different types of calendar I could do. So maybe if I can get like 2 or 3 or even 4 different calendars printed in limited numbers, that would basically come to the same cost as getting a lot of the same kind done. I might look into doing that for a bit later on, maybe 2022. Remains to be seen. But for now, at the moment, money's, not tight. Like, I need to keep an eye on my finances a little bit, and I can't quite warrant getting calendars done when I very well may not sell many at all. So I'll look into it, but for this year, probably not. But, the stickers is something, it's something at least. Plus, as I've said in my Patreon post, it is leading up toward Butvember, which is a thing. I'm going to aim to do a butt a day. Now I'm a working artist, I should have time to do that, which would be quite cool. We will see how that goes, I suppose. Drawing pens. It's a bit different, isn't it? These aren't your dad's ballpoint pens. These aren't any kind of ballpoint pens at all. Trying to get some like texture and difference in shading in there without cross-hatching like a lunatic. And trying to have some sort of vague indication of terrain, stones and ground and such. Well, that was a lot of information, wasn't it? How are you all doing? I hope you're well. And the stickers, I have wanted to do like more stickers. So I'm glad I'm doing the stickers now. And if they go well, I'll look into doing other stickers. Because it would be cool to do stickers of like paintings and drawings and things. I figured the butts are a pretty safe bet. Most people would probably be into that. So that was me playing it safe just a little bit. We'll see how that goes. I'll keep you updated. As I said, or as I usually say, I don't know if I did say with this, they will be available to Patreon users and close friends first before anybody else. And then, of course, there will be the free extra stickers, which I will, announce when I get them from the printer. Which is cool. Oh, what sucks is this is a newer pen. So the ink's a little bit lighter. It's always a problem with new ballpoint pens, is the fresh ink is always just a little bit lighter than what you'd be used to. If you use a pen for long enough, you get used to the dark ink. And then you run out, so you crack open a new one. And the ink's really light and shitty. White people problems, am I right? Or like first world or whatever, I don't know. Whew. Well, boy, howdy. Haven't we had the time of our lives this evening? Happy Friday to you all. And to all a good AIDS.